What if you could be a superhero? Dave here from DC On Screen. If you love this show and you want to see it continue and thrive, please be sure to visit iTunes or Stitcher and leave us a 5-star written review. The process is faster than a speeding bullet. You don't even have to wear tights or a cape. I mean, you can, if you're into that kind of thing. No judgment. What's important is that you tell the world what you like about the show and why you think they should be listening too. It really does go a long way in helping our show grow and expand, pushing us into more people's eye and ear holes. That was a weird way to put that. By the way, leaving a 5-star written review gets you entered into a drawing to win a free DC trade paperback, DVD, or Blu-ray valued at $15 or less. 1 in 10 will win and will be chosen through a true number generator on random.org. Think of it as our version of that antiquated sexist moment where the superhero saves the girl and she gives him a little jaw sugar. Alright, begging is over. Time for a brand new episode of DC On Screen. Welcome into DC On Screen. This is episode 304. This is our weekly DCEU news episode. I am your host, David C. Robertson, and right now I have Milo's no-calorie sweet tea in my cup. That's with sucralose, not aspartame, mind you. This is my co-host, Jason Goss. What are you drinking, man?
Oh, a beer. I miss tea.
Why can't you have tea?
Me and caffeine don't get along so great anymore.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the caffeine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't be drinking caffeine.
A friend from my past, long missed.
Like that old buddy from college that you know is no good for you. Just pull you right back down to the same old bad habits.
Yeah, I still know those, though.
I know you do, buddy.
We hang out.
Oh, man. So, a bunch of stuff went on. A bunch of stuff is going on. Stuff dropped tonight as we were prepping for the show. Putting the last finishing touches on the show. We're going to talk about those things. But first up, happy birthday to Aquaman. 76 years old.
Oh, our little babies grow up so fast.
Now, I mean, he first appeared in More Fun Comics 73 in November of 1941. But the DC Comics calendar says that his birthday is January 29th. So that's what we're going by, I guess.
Yeah.
Geoff Johns turns 44 years old today. Or not today, January 25th.
Yeah.
We're a little late on that. Happy birthday, Geoff.
Yeah. For our
Thank
purposes,
you for rebirth.
it's today.
Right. Thank you for rebirth and all the things.
Mm-hmm.
So there was an auction. I can't remember if we even talked about it. I might have been like, screw this, and taken it off of like a former news episode, but there was an auction for Batman and Superman suits from Batman Returns and the Superman, 1978 Superman. Apparently the Batman suit sold for $41,250.
Man.
From Batman Returns. Superman's outfit did not get sold. It went unsold. No one wanted it.
Wait, really?
Seriously.
I have $1.
Well, see, the minimum bid was $40,000.
Well, I'm sure, but, if you're going to take $0, I've got $1. I can spare $1. I'll go through my couches.
Apparently it has small holes in it, though.
Maybe I'll find more money in there, but I'll get back to them.
I'd start at 25 cents.
I guess they just put the minimum way too high on that. I mean,
oh yeah, I think the Batman one the minimum was like 31,000.
They maybe should have just kept those minimums the same. I guess they were thinking the age and the Donner and Reeve and everybody, but
right, yeah, I don't know. Batman's way more popular. He just is, just the way it is.
Yeah.
So the Lego Batman director, Chris McKay, apparently wants a piece of the DCEU. A fan talked to Chris McKay on Twitter, said he'd like to see him do a DCEU film, and McKay responded, "It's a long shot, but I'd like to be a part of it somehow. Thank you, by the way." The fan said he wanted to start a tweet petition to the co-runner of DC Films, Geoff Johns. And McKay said, "Thanks, that's nice, but I'm going to go in and see those guys and pitch myself and go from there. But thank you."
It couldn't hurt.
Right?
All right, tell him to just kind of like put his name in the queue for the next guy that's going to take on and leave the Flash.
Or there is another option, because the big news of the evening, the news that dropped drastically as we were prepping, Ben Affleck is officially out as director of the solo Batman film.
Oh, that's a bad sign.
Mm-hmm.
That is a bad sign.
It's, man. So he's painting it as a good thing, of course. I don't know, man. So, Ben Affleck said in a statement, there are certain characters who hold a special place in the hearts of millions. Performing this role demands focus, passion, and the very best performance I can give. It has become clear that I cannot do both jobs to the level they require. Together with the studio, I have decided to find a partner in a director who will collaborate with me on this massive film. I am still in this, and we are making it, but we are currently looking for a director. I remain extremely committed to this project and look forward to bringing this to life for fans around the world. Now, some might say, and I consider this to be probably true, Live by Night is a flop.
That's what I'm hearing.
We have reports that Warner Brothers Variety is reporting that Warner Brothers lost $74 million on Live by Night.
Ouch.
Yeah, it has made $16.5 million globally. It cost $65 million to produce, and after marketing, looks like they lost $75 million. That's what Variety is saying. You know, I don't know what those numbers actually are. But
They're big enough that they probably hurt.
Affleck has flip-flopped on this so much. It was clear that he wasn't sure whether he was directing or not, and then he kind of got a little bit of steam on Kimmel and said, I'm doing it, and now he's not. And more than anything, I'm not as worried about the film as I am about the constant flip-flopping and now this decision hurting the DCEU and Warner Brothers in a PR perspective. Like, they're going to get hammered for this. Like, oh, the Batman movie's going to have more... You guys have got to get your shit together. Stop making statements when you go back on.
They really need to get that under control. Because it just looks bad. And you know, though, on the other side, the media's already given them so much shit. Like, what more can they do?
More.
I mean...
More.
This is plenty of new ammo. Like, yeah, my first reaction is this is bad. Affleck originally said that he didn't want to do it unless it was something he could be proud of. Mm-hmm. So if it's him walking out, or if it's him deciding he can't do it, maybe it is something that he just can't. They're trying to take him in a direction that he didn't want to go, which would actually jive with everything else we've seen from the other directors leading projects.
But no, he's not leaving. He's just stepping down as director. He's still going to be the star.
I'm sure
he's still going to be the EP.
Yeah, and it sounds like they're going to let him go fishing for somebody that he thinks will have a similar vision to what he did, based on at least how he phrased that. But
I mean, with critical panning for Live by Night, though, it's not making the money they thought it would make. I'm just thinking maybe they did come to a mutual decision. Like, look, as he's been talking about this in other interviews that we've talked about, where he's saying, how much pressure there is, even on Live by Night as the star and the director. Like, you're doing Batman.
Yeah,
that's a ton.
Yeah, he's already said that it's just a pain in the ass to do this, no matter how much you want to do it. So yeah, we can say this then. All right, let's do the obvious worst case scenario. Affleck left because Affleck stepped down from that because they weren't letting him do it the way he felt like he should do it.
Right.
WB, Warner Brothers in general, is a dumpster fire that somehow keeps getting fed more fuel. And the Batman solo movie is as fucked as it appears the Flash solo movie is. That's the worst case, right?
Sure. That's the worst case.
I guess best case then is that, it was a mutual decision. Affleck kind of realized over the course of it that he doesn't have time to both do the role and actually direct the role and EP the role in a way that he thinks would actually justify the character, and he thinks the best thing he can do is focus on the actual acting and let someone else direct the thing. So maybe he's still involved in writing an EP. I don't know if they said anything about writing, but we'll see.
I would assume.
He also maybe, we're just shooting for the best fences here. Doesn't want to take, like, Live by Night's just not holding up. So maybe he doesn't want to take that and transfer it into more concerns about a movie that people are already worried about.
Yeah.
Same time, Warner Brothers looked at all the lost money and went, you know what, man? I mean, if you want to maybe take a step back, we'll understand. We'll find somebody. You can stay in this thing. We know you've been thinking a lot about it. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the best picture we can paint for it, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, clearly with the director not being in place, though, this thing is going to get pushed back.
Yeah,
I can't imagine them shooting in spring.
Just not likely. And I don't think they had a script yet either.
Well, Affleck says they did. They said they didn't. I don't know.
The one upside that I think is objective is that if this is true, we can stop waffling about the damn thing. I'm tired of reporting a different thing on this every week.
I know, me too.
Like, I've been considering asking if you wanted to do a moratorium on Batfleck involvement.
Well, I thought we wouldn't need one after a couple of weeks ago.
I did
I'm definitely
too.
doing it on
I kept
chemical.
thinking, I think we're there.
Kimmel.
I kept thinking we were going to get there, and he just keeps dragging it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this looks like an actual public statement, so...
It looked like, the Variety article looked like the studios released something in response, so...
Fingers crossed that they just get their shit together and stop playing back and forth on this, but...
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm not necessarily worried about it because I was actually more worried about him directing and starring at the same time. I was actually more worried about that than I am this. My big worry is that the constant waffling is gonna just make them look bad. Like, it just keeps perpetuating the negativity, the negative articles, and yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy. I don't know.
They need to rein that shit in. I think that's another objective truth here.
Mm-hmm. So, maybe another misstep on Warner Brothers' part.
If nothing else, for our sake.
Right. Apparently there will be no Super Bowl ads for WB this year.
Yeah, I actually heard about that one.
Disney, Paramount, Fox, they all bought airtime, but Warner Brothers is not in. Of course, football has been down to like 10% in the ratings, something like that.
That's, if I'm giving them the best, if I'm giving it the best spin, that's the reason they do it. It is trending down in views right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, enough that it's starting to worry people.
Yeah, apparently the network sold 30-second spots for an average of $5 million a piece, up from $4.8 million last year. Mm-hmm. So it just may not have been worth it.
There's been some suspicion in the last few years that they've been inflating the prices way beyond what they were really worth. Mm-hmm. That now it's like I don't know, it's the thing you have to do just to be in the in crowd of advertising almost. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's really probably not worth it to sell M&Ms to have that other commercial that you spent like $1.5 million producing and another $5 million buying.
Mm-hmm. But, also those, the ads that they did for BVS on the Super Bowl, those weren't technically Warner Brother ads with the airline.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't Warner Brothers. Yeah. So,
forgot about those.
They might actually have, somebody else in, but, Anyway, I watched the Super Bowl. You can see that shit online anyway later.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So John Cleese put up a picture of himself getting into character before tonight's Q&A in Worcester, MA. He was putting on lipstick, but on the nightstand, or on the little vanity desk, he had a copy of The Dark Knight Returns, Justice League Origin by Geoff Johns and Jim Lee, and Batman the Black Mirror, the Noir edition by Snyder and Jock and Francavilla. So,
well, he's got good taste if he's just reading for fun.
Well, I mean, we know he's getting ready for something.
Mm-hmm. Can't imagine what yet, but it'll be fun. Cleese will fuck with us some more. It's in his nature.
It is.
It just is.
So, Batman News is reporting that Jared Leto might be sporting green hair. He took some rock climbing pictures, and, on one of them, it looks like he might have green hair coming out from underneath his hat. Mm. So, some people are saying it's just the way the light is shining on his hair. I don't know.
I thought the studio didn't want him to rock climb.
Yeah, but remember he said, screw that or whatever.
Shit. Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Maybe that's just him trolling them as the Joker.
So a YouTuber, Patrick H. Willems, has released a video essay, as he calls it, video essay, called DC Films Character Problem. And in this video essay, he explains that the reason we don't like the DCEU movies, we as a collective society, not us personally because we kind of like them, is that the character motivations aren't clear. Like, they don't have clear-cut motivations. I sent you this thing to watch. What did you think, Jason?
He's got some points, but for the most part, it was kind of...
bullshit?
Yeah, it's a lot of... It's a little bit of a straw man argument because he sets it up as though it's supposed to be an origin story told a certain way, and then gets, takes points away for it not telling it the way he described. But it's a different movie than the one he was talking about and criticizing it for. Mm-hmm. Which is something that, to on some level, a lot of us have done one way or the other. Sure.
I just, overall, I don't think that the character motivations have been completely the problem, or not having them. I think some of the character motivations may have been a problem because they didn't really fit the characters very well, possibly.
No, there's, I completely agree with him that there was some character development work in these films that could have been done. Should have been done, even. Sorry. Should have just gone straight for should have been done. But, for instance, he said between Man of Steel, or just with Man of Steel, if you had never heard of Superman and walked into that movie, explain to me why he's saving people at the end of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
To which I happily retort, fuck that shit. That's stupid art. No one that watched this movie has never heard of Superman before. People that didn't watch this movie have still heard of Superman. That was one of the points where I went, oh, come on, dude. Don't get me wrong. A few other times I went, yeah, you got a point. Yeah, they're,
Actually, I agreed with him on that point.
No, I completely don't. Like, to me, that's an absolutely facile argument. Like, that was not involved. Like, Superman saves people. If you went to see this movie, you were aware of that.
But why? And to me, that goes back to the Jonathan Kent argument in Man of Steel, which we've documented well.
Oh, yeah. Now, that is where I'll agree with them. Like, yeah, Paul Kent was written confusingly. No one's arguing with you here, bud. And, yeah, that's where they should have given you the fleshed out motivation for why he did. I still say that the dog was supposed to be, the QED part of that argument, but they just didn't.
Dogs are to humans as humans are to Kryptonians.
Yeah, I still say that that's what they were shooting for, literally, and didn't get it. Like, it didn't come across like they want to. It's the Man of Steel's Martha moment, is what that is.
I was about to say that. I'm like, if we could just wave that flag at Zack Snyder and be like, hey, dog is to human as human is to Kryptonian. Oh, yeah, I did make that. Yeah, I did make that. I made that point. That was a good point. No, it wasn't. Don't make that point again.
It wasn't a well done point.
By the way, no more Martha thing. Like, Martha should not, just a name should not cause someone to think that, oh, he is a human. No, he's no.
Yeah.
Like, I like the point. I kind of dug it. Same time, it's a little too deep for modern audiences.
It's not even that it's too deep. It's like too shallow and too deep at the same time. Like, to justify it, you have to go so deep that it's no longer. It's the same. It's when I left the theater. I said first thing I said was that was the weak point. The whole movie turned around a weak point. Like, I liked a lot of what happened here, but that's going to be a problem.
Matt, though, our buddy Matt Carroll of the MCU cast, who saw it with us, he said the weak point was the entire thing leading up to the fight. It's like, the first 40 minutes were awful.
His comment was like, as soon as that Congresswoman got killed, everything was better.
Yeah,
he said, I'm paraphrasing, but it was a really boring movie right up until then.
Well, I could make a joke about, a Marvel guy not looking for substance, only like explosions, but I won't go there. I won't say that at all, because I love Marvel.
Mm-hmm. But, back to what we're saying, though. I agree with him on certain points. Like, yeah, Superman saving people at the beginning of the movie, saving at the end of the movie. Okay, but that's part of who Superman is. To me, that's as worrisome as saying, like, well, the guy's hair was brown the whole movie. I don't see how his character developed.
Right. I think no matter how much you know Superman, you're still looking for, well, who's this Superman? Once they change actors, you have to explain who is this Superman. It's the problem they had. It's one of the problems they had with Brandon Routh in Superman Returns, because he was just trying to be Chris Reeves Superman. And, as much as he kind of looks like him, we know he's not.
I know. And that was a doomed experiment, because they pitched it as like, oh, we're going to kind of revive the series. And then the problem was that they tried to do it and everything was different and it wasn't quite the same enough. And it was different and I don't like it.
Yeah, except,
And he didn't punch anything.
For all... yeah, except, oh no, everything's kind of the same. And they didn't take any real, they just updated the Chris Reeves stuff and put it in our time. And they didn't really take any real creative risks.
No.
Well, they took creative risks. One of those being that he didn't do anything in the course of the film.
Yeah.
But anyway, I do like Superman Returns a little bit. I like it, pretty well.
I certainly didn't hate it, but it's been. Yeah, I would really have to go back and watch that film again to give a good. Before I stated any more about it.
It's tough for me. It's one of those things where, you put a guy in a Superman outfit, or you put a guy in a Batman outfit, or you put a guy in a cape. I'm gonna grin and watch the thing.
Yeah.
I can bitch about some of the smaller things, but I'm gonna dig on this for just a little bit. But anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't completely agree with this guy, but kind of a fun little essay. I was kind of hoping he'd go a little deeper though.
Way harder on Suicide Squad than was absolutely necessary.
He was.
We all. No one's pretending there's not problems with all these movies, but saying that there wasn't character development in Suicide Squad, it's an ensemble movie. You can't develop too many characters too much,
Yeah.
or it gets a little weird. But
Yeah.
they a lot of these characters did manage to learn something over the course of the film.
Yeah. I mean, the Big Lebowski comes to mind. You're not wrong. You're just an asshole. But yeah, he was a little harder on Suicide Squad than he needed to be. I don't know. Again, I kind of wanted him to go a little more in depth because I didn't feel like he really went too deep with his arguments. That may actually be, telling.
Yeah, maybe.
And we could do a whole podcast about the character motivations and how they had character motivations in all these movies. Like, some of that stuff, like, oh, why would they show, Will Smith's daughter there at the end? Really?
He got lit up in the comments for that. I scrolled down.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
But anyway, he seems like a nice guy anyway. But anyway, moving on to, actually, real quick, I meant to bring this up. Who do you want to see direct Batman now?
Tough call.
Like, a few of our Twitter people were saying maybe Martin Scorsese, but...
You're never going to get a name that big.
Well, I think he's too big and too respected. I think he wouldn't actually want to be involved in something where he had to kind of toe a company line.
Yeah. I really don't know. I hadn't had to think about it yet.
Also, Scott at the Suicide Squad cast just recorded an emergency podcast, I'm assuming about Batman.
Yeah.
They gave us a shout out. So thanks, guys. Suicide Squad cast. There's your shout out.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually, while we were doing prep, I was having conversations with Scott, and it was fun. Scott Lerer, I would assume, SELERER3 on Twitter. That was the cat talking about Scorsese in particular. But yeah, I mean, he asked if we would talk about directors we'd like to see. I can't think of a big name director I would want enough, because they all have the Scorsese problem where they're going to want to do what they want to do. It's going to be like the Chris Nolan thing. They're like, no, I think Batman is the problem. No, he's not.
Yeah, they're going to want, the problem is you've got to have somebody that doesn't want to come in and redefine the franchise. And I don't mean just the DCEU franchise. I mean redefine comic book movies.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing when you're Tim Miller and you want to do I want to redefine blah, blah, blah. And we know we can do this rated R and everything. That was expanding the brand in a way that I thought was, it's going to end up being crucial down the road, I think.
Yeah.
But Scorsese's going to want to come in and slow everything down and take a moment to focus on certain things. It's going to end up, you're going to end up taking a series of movies that has a problem with feeling too slow and gritty for most people and throwing Scorsese at it. I don't think it's going to help.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're going to have to find somebody
tough.
This is what they're going to look for. They're going to look for somebody that's young and upcoming so they can tell them to toe our line.
Yeah.
And they're going to look for somebody that wants to make a little bit more of a fun film. And they're going to look for somebody that knows how to shoot high budget. This is how you get guy comes to mind is this how you get Fast and Furious guy. Fits all those credentials.
Yeah, but you look at David Ayer and he shot low budget. It's just, if they can
figure you take a chance on some of those,
do high performance on low budget, that's a big win.
Yeah.
I think though, if you look at all the people and maybe this is going to be like a turnaround where they brought in Seth Grahame-Smith, not a guy that was anything really. He wrote some books, but he left, and Rick Famuyiwa did 2 films, and now he's left, and the new things that they're bringing up for Shazam and Flash aren't exactly giving me a whole lot of confidence in what they're thinking as far as writers and anyway, we'll get to that. But I guess the argument or the question wasn't about who we think they will put down, because I don't think we're going to have ever heard of the person they bring up. I think though, there are tons of people I would like to see direct a Batman movie, but none in this universe. I don't want to see any of these any of the big directors I like David Lynch. I would love to see a Batman film by that guy.
Sure.
But not in this universe. I don't want to see him trying to shove his crazy creative dick down DCEU's throat. No way.
Right.
So anyway, I guess that's my pick then.
Yeah.
Lynch, maybe? I don't
know. I'd almost like to see do it just because they've proven they can do this once. What the DCU still needs is a tentpole character. They don't really have it yet, unfortunately. They don't have that character that they don't have Iron Man,
Oh, I disagree.
They don't.
And I think Warner Brothers knows what I'm thinking.
What?
They're Harley Quinn.
Oh, yeah, it's close. And they're going to give her sirens to go for. And she's pretty close. But what they had when they brought in Iron Man was this charismatic character that, like, showed so much potential, and you just had to get to the next movie with him. And
they're splitting that between Affleck's Batman and Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn. They definitely are.
Well, that's one of the things that the guy actually had right on the video, though, was like Ben Affleck's Batman. We still don't have a story with him. Like, we had a story within Batman vs Superman, and we have a story with how Batman puts together the Justice League, but there's not an internalized conflict with him yet that everyone's really worried
I disagree.
About. I mean, he had his problems with Superman, which then again, this is one of the parts where there was an arc. I mean, he went from being completely anti to completely, I won't let him, what failed him in life, I won't fail him in death. That was his arc, and that's fine.
Well, I mean, his arc was more or less, there's no more good, no one stays good, and then there are still good men. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's fine. How many men left in Gotham? How many stayed good? That's fine, but I still just don't think they have that character that this is what I'm getting at. Most of America's not rooting for any one of these characters yet. They're still too divisive. Like with Deadshot and Robbie and Harley, you got close to something that everyone roundly agreed, hey, this is a cool character, I want to follow. And we're still hoping Wonder Woman pulls it off. Because that would be, high, like, focusing on them. We're already there. We're not waiting for sirens or, some Deadshot movie maybe down the wall. But they do. They need a character that everybody can get behind without it being just so damn divisive. So, all that to say, Favreau's done it before.
Oh, shit. I love Favreau. He's got his hands full, though, with
he always has his
Jungle Book and whatnot. I know. I don't think his Disney contract would let him out.
Oh, I'm sure it would.
As far as I know, he's...
Sure it would not.
Yeah, I think that dude's busy. Anyway,
I actually have wondered this for a while. When you sign a contract with Disney under whatever subheading it is, Marvel, whatever, I'm sure it's a pretty decent sized contract. Like I'm sure you want to have several lawyers look at it. Just I'm going to be sure of that based on pure spec. I'm wondering if literally the last line is "Don't fuck with the mouse," like right above the signature. Just the last thing you see in giant bold letters at the bottom of the page, right before you're supposed to sign, "Don't fuck with the mouse." They play dirty. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. I don't know what else.
Finally give Kevin Smith a shot. He's been saying for so long, "No, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it." But now he's just doing this tour on TV, right? How long do you think before he gets the bug and goes, "Oh man, I do want in on that"?
Oh, well, look, Rick Story over on Twitter said, "Give it to that Kevin Smith. He loves Batman and has proven through the CW that he can handle the action." He said that to us, and he tagged Kevin Smith.
This is a hell of a lot better of an endorsement than back in the day when, like, and he's joked about it, like back in the day when it was like, yeah, you wrote that, thing in Clerks about, like, what these guys are. You should do the next Superman movie.
But like I said on Twitter to him, I wouldn't mind making Kevin Smith. I don't want him in the director's chair for any of these movies because I don't think he can. I'm not sure he can direct this big of a thing.
Don't know.
Like,
I think he's
maybe in a couple of years once he's like completely mastered the CW stuff.
Yeah.
But and he'll be the first to tell you that he's learning how to do all this stuff.
Yeah. It's not in any way a knock on him. He's like it's a whole different thing to do the big budget actions. Like even freaking Affleck said that he was really happy he'd done these movies now because he knew the working parts.
But if WB came out and said, "Hey, look, visually, we're going to keep Zack Snyder around as an EP, and we're also bringing in Kevin Smith as an EP and Paul Dini as an EP," I would probably not have any clean underwear for the rest of the week. Like, yeah, it would be ridiculous.
Yeah. I want Snyder to shoot a Paul Dini Kevin Smith story. That's pretty much what you're describing. Yeah, that's.
No, I think that would be a fine thing.
That would be a fine thing.
And look, I've seen number 23.
Oh, by the way, Geoff John's just going to hang around in the background just to make sure everyone plays right.
Right. Okay, and if we keep, Zack, Kevin, Paul Dini around, I say we give Schumacher another shot. Let him be the director of the solo Batman movie. I've seen the number 23. He can pull off that noir shit.
He'll never get it.
Tell him don't put any nipples on it.
No, that's the first thing I would do if I was Schumacher and I got that job. I would show up at the first big meeting. I would make sure it was a big meeting. Make sure everyone was there. Get around the table, and then when it was my turn to speak, or like when everyone was quiet, say, "All right, first things first. I'm bringing the nipples back," and just wait for the room to sweat. Like, all right, guys, I'm just fucking with you. Come on, hit me. What ideas you got?
Nah, that's just one you don't screw with, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, Moving on to Wonder Woman news. Ewen Bremner has revealed his role for Wonder Woman. He says, I play a character who's enlisted by Wonder Woman to help save the world as part of a small, unlikely band. He's a shell-shocked soldier who's been discharged from the war and is brought back to help on a secret mission. So, yeah.
All right. Doesn't give us a lot yet, but okay. We've only got,
Patty,
what do we got, like a month and a half?
A month and a half before what?
Wait, when does Wonder Woman come out?
June?
Oh, Jesus, it's June. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
I'm sorry, buddy.
You just cost me 2 months of hope.
Oh, man. Patty Jenkins, though, posted a pic of a scoring session, I believe, on Twitter. He said, man, last many Fridays have been some of the best of my life. Seeing final effects and recording epic score brings tears to my eyes. #love. She tagged Rupert Gregson Williams, who's scoring. So, you know, they're still getting this thing wrapped up. I'm sure someone has seen a cut, but probably not the final cut, since they're still scoring. So you guys can just hold out hope on the Wonder Woman's a mess bullshit that's been going around.
Yeah.
Little side note, Gal Gadot and Chris Pine wished China a happy New Year. Happy Chinese New Year. Year of the Rooster, apparently. And
Year
that's
of the
gonna
Cock,
be
as we're
important.
so fond of calling it instead.
Oh, man. But they're apparently very, on top of that whole, hey, let's get China this time so we can make $1 billion.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So, Gal Gadot has also reacted to seeing Justice League scenes. She said, just saw some scenes from Justice League. So exciting. Have a great weekend. Thanks for that, Gal.
That's such a weird way to end that.
I know. Zack Snyder posted a picture on Vero of Gal Gadot doing some ADR. And, you know, just doing a little post. She said, he said, Wonder Woman working hard in LA on post of JL. So, I mean, you know, ADR is pretty common. I wouldn't worry. It's not technically a reshoot.
No, it's
Don't freak out anyone.
borderline mandatory for these films.
It absolutely is.
I've got this giant battlefield shot. I'm going to put a boom mic over everyone's head. That doesn't happen.
And, you know, I mean, this looks like a relatively quiet scene, too. I think it's just, you know, it's pretty needed for everything, including YouTube videos.
Yeah, oh yeah.
We should have realized that.
Oh yeah. No, we knew. We just didn't bother.
Maybe you knew it, and I didn't bother. I slowly came around to that knowledge, like a moron.
I definitely remember knowing and not being able to be bothered. Maybe I didn't share that problem with you.
It's like, why can't we get good audio? Anyway.
Yeah.
Well, you know, we were shooting video in that awkward time where, you know, home audio equipment was still pretty expensive. Now it's like ridiculous. It's like for a cost of a box of Cracker Jacks, you can get a good mic.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I mean,
Anyway.
you can just forego one set of groceries now instead of like 20.
Right.
You only have to not eat for 4 days.
Yeah. So Batman News pointed out,
struggling
though.
recording artist.
Batman News pointed out, though, that in the photo that Zack posted of Gal Gadot doing the ADR, that the timeline said 2 hours and 9 minutes.
Ah.
Which, you know, would suggest that they were in the third act of post-production, which is more proof that they don't have a final cut completely, or no one really could have seen it and been like, "Meh." No, so, you know.
Probably. Or, and it wouldn't surprise me if that was organized more according to her time than anything else. Like, not even a cut of the movie, just literally they've rejiggered, technical term I use all the time. Get on it.
That's a term that I don't hear often anymore, but I think we should hear more of, along with Nothing Doing and
Oh yeah, yeah.
Poppycock.
So you
Balderdash.
simply rejigger the shots so that you can get her in and out of the studio as quickly and cheaply as possible. 209 may be absolutely meaningless, or the movie may be 2 hours and 13 minutes. Who knows?
Yeah. So Zack Snyder was talking to Empire Magazine. Said that Superman will have a big role. He says Superman does play a big part in this movie. His presence and lack of presence are big story points. Some of my favorite stories involve the lack of Superman. Because I don't care for the... No, I'm just kidding. I don't...
Fuck that guy. Screw Hope.
I hate Superman. No. Well, one of my favorite books is The Nail. Alan Davis's The Nail. That was a great bit. That was an Elseworlds tale where Superman was never found by the Kents.
Cool. Don't know.
Very, very cool. And then they flash forward and we see the Justice League as it is without Superman, and just it's a mess, man. It's a really cool story, and you should totally read it, Jason.
I will get that back on the list. There's a really cool bit during the Final Crisis days, where the big three are arguing. They've kind of fallen out of sorts, and it's a big crisis, Final Crisis or Infinite Crisis.
I've lost track.
Shit. I think it may be Infinite Crisis. Somebody will know and maybe correct me. But there's a cool bit though where he calls out, Batman calls out Superman and says like, the last time you really inspired someone, you were dead. Right.
I remember that scene.
You remember the line at least?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's powerful.
But yeah, the nail was pretty cool because a literal nail was the catalyst for the story. Like, Pa Kent's truck got a nail in the tire, so they weren't driving down that road to find Clark. You know what I mean? And on the inside of the cover, they had that classic old poem, like, for one of a nail, the horse was, or the shoe was lost. For one of a shoe, the horse was lost. For one of the horse, and it just keeps going until so was a kingdom that was lost, all for the one of a nail.
Well done.
Yeah, it was, and just like showing like how just like the singular event of Superman being found by the Kents just completely, honestly, Zack Snyder and David Goyer should have read that shit before they made Man of Steel. But
put it on the Amazon wish list.
Absolutely. There's also part 2. But
I don't have the money. I don't have the money to.
I don't know where they hang. I don't know where they hang in terms of trade paperbacks of that. Anyway, doesn't hurt to have it on a wish list, man.
That's why I call it a wish list.
But I love stories where they point out, how integral Superman is, because he does serve a purpose, whether or not you think he's a big Boy Scout and don't have any use for him or not. I love Batman more than any other superhero, but Superman has his place. In
a way, I've grown over time to love Superman.
Yeah, me too.
Slightly past the Dark Knight even. Which is good, it's nice. We have that eternal argument about who's more useful sometimes.
I like them both.
Love them both dearly, don't get me wrong.
I'm an eternal fence rider here. Joe Manganiello confirmed that the Deathstroke footage was an armor test. It was just a screen test for the armor that we saw.
All right.
Duran _art, put up a picture of the armor from that. It looks like he did sort of like digital painting with it. Kind of made it stand out. It's a cool little picture. But Joe thanked him for it and said, "Awesome shot. Thanks for this awesome shot of me from the armor screen test." So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Mm-hmm. It's always nice to get new tidbits. Anyway. So the Justice League 2018 poster calendar has been a topic of discussion on Reddit. They started investigating on this Reddit thread and found an Amazon release date for it on June 1st, 2017, which means that they conclude that we'll see an official Justice League movie poster around the same time as June 1st, 2017, which means that another trailer is probably not far away.
You gotta think they're gonna have, surely they'll have another one for Wonder Woman's premiere, right?
I would assume. So Joe Manganiello was talking to Entertainment Tonight. He says, growing up an avid comic book fan, and then there were a lot of superhero roles and supervillain roles that came my way that I said no to or wasn't allowed to do because of other commitments. It's just really exciting to think that this is the one. I'm glad everybody's happy. I'm just going to put my head down and just really show up as prepared as any supervillain ever has. So that's cool. Apparently he's had other opportunities to play superheroes. I know he either turned down or couldn't accept a role as Superman.
Yeah, he's got at least close to the right look for it.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely has the build.
So James,
it's a giant dude.
Oh yeah. I think he's right for Deathstroke though, more than any of the others I've heard.
No, it makes complete sense. I would kind of like to see like the list of people he turned down or couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been so damn excited about Deathstroke that I just on spec, I get the feeling that he probably didn't like sneer at any of these roles. He probably deeply considered it or couldn't do it.
Yeah. So James Wan posted a picture of Jason Momoa himself, Amber Heard, and Patrick Wilson the cast of Aquaman with the caption, "After school detention with the new Breakfast Club."
Not sure that's relevant, but you go, man, go.
I like the Breakfast Club.
I'm sorry.
It's not relevant, but I dig it. We talked about last week how Aquaman, there you go. Jason Momoa knew he was Aquaman since like 2012. He, I think he was on Kimmel, said that he did tell his family and friends. But here was a little piece that I didn't know. Apparently, he was up for the role of Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy. He met with Chris Pratt in February of 2013.
Oh.
And didn't make it through. They apparently offered him the role on the spot, though.
Well, shit.
But probably his contract with WB to play Aquaman made that fall through.
Well, shit. Hadn't he had that contract for a while?
Yeah, since 2012.
Yeah, okay. All right. That's it. All right, so that's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame if the DCEU doesn't work out, which apparently every reporter ever in the world is determined to make not happen.
Yeah. Well, no, I just mean a shame for him. Like, I'm sure he would love to have done both of those.
Yeah, absolutely. But, he's, the whole time he was filming, not Aquaman, Justice League, he couldn't have been filming Guardians of the Galaxy too. So it's better this way.
Yeah, there's a reason there are exclusivity clauses in contracts.
And,
not just branding. Sometimes it's just, we're not going to compete with your schedule. Can't do that.
And my abject hatred for wrestling aside, I like Dave Bautista as Drax. So.
He did fine.
Sorry, did I call it wrestling? Because it's not wrestling, it's wrestling.
It is wrestling. With an apostrophe at the end and no G, sir. No G.
Yeah, wrestling. On Tuesday, Melanie Iglesias, I guess is the way you say that, big makeup artist, I would assume for Aquaman, posted a picture with Amber Heard saying how excited she was to work with Amber. She says, "Working with this lady today, hashtag Mara, hashtag Aquaman, hashtag Aquawoman." She's kissing her on the cheek. It's a nice little picture.
Oh, isn't that good?
Yeah. It's a nice little picture. Chrissy Clemens apparently just realized she was playing Iris West.
All right.
Oh. She said, this is on Twitter, "I get more excited than I thought I would when I'm told I'm like real life Iris West. Does this mean I can go to work and not even try? You're all watching the fact that I'm Iris West hit me. It takes some time." Okay, I guess that's fair.
All right.
So the big bad news on the Flash this week is that it's getting a page 1 rewrite.
Yeah.
We know the story. We had Lord and Miller. Then we had, Seth Graham Smith. And then he left. And then they brought in Rick Famuyiwa of Dope. And now he's gone over creative differences. Now they're bringing in this Harold guy. What's his name? I don't know why, but Joby Harold.
There we go.
I couldn't find it for a second. I changed the font on the page because it was giant. And then I couldn't find I'm a moron. So Joby Harold.
You'll fight your own document for us, though.
My Word document is my General Zod.
You will overcome.
And I will break its neck. And
endure this hardship.
Hashtag the struggle is real.
Right.
Joby Harold is coming in to rewrite from page 1 this script. They're just doing a complete revamp, complete rewrite on this thing.
Like our page 1 rewrite is the equivalent of handing someone the job and saying, "Here's a copy of the old script if you want, but I don't give a fuck. Here's another ream of blank paper if that's what you want as well. Don't really care.
Right?
Bring me back something that excites me. This is firewood as far as I'm concerned."
Yeah, I mean, how do you write a Flash script that's that bad?
I don't know. And, like you said, though, it's been through several people. It's not like one person wrote a Flash script that's that bad. Crowdsourcing is not necessarily a good thing, though, sometimes.
I also wonder, if it's that situation from the critic, where it's they tell Jay, "Oh, yeah, we're not making your movie. It's the best thing we've ever seen, but we're not making it." Why not? Let's see, this is the place they bring up this big glass case full of scripts. This is where we put all the scripts that are too good to be made into movies.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's just naming off things like Revenge of the Nerds 5. "Oh, what are you doing in here?" Picks up the phone. "We want to greenlight this immediately."
Yeah. Yeah, and God, I'd love to be able to find some more details on this, but I've heard of scripts being rewritten just dozens of times, and then you end up with nonsense on the other end. And guess what? It's kind of it's like a really well-paid version of the Grapevine game.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. I would love to be any one of those pieces of the Grapevine because you get like $100K for writing a piece of shit script and sending it on to the next guy.
Absolutely.
Sign me up any damn day.
Aside from just, word of mouth, like, oh, don't waste your money on that guy. He put in a crappy script. I mean, you could write a crappy script. Just why even try?
Right.
But anyway, there's plenty of reasons to try. Maybe they picked that one up.
Maybe. And then the problem is, though, maybe they picked that one up, and then you end up being the guy who wrote it, as opposed to the story or teleplay or whatever your story by or whatever credit before. Right. The guys that broke the story get this ambiguous credit of like, well, we were involved, but maybe we didn't do it. And then the guy that had the last say on it ends up getting the like, crap. They bought my version of this shitty script. That's... Damn it.
Yeah, I think Warner Brothers, like, who knows what the real problem is? Like, maybe Warner Brothers is like, you know what, this is a pretty good script, but we don't want to actually pay any of these guys that we don't have any dealings with right now. So we just want you to rewrite the whole thing. What do you mean? Well, I mean, look, we're going to have to give $100K to each of these guys, and if we use any part of the script, so can you just rewrite it, and we'll give you like 45?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how that business works.
It's rough.
So.
It's the Flash. How fucking hard is it?
I mean, I would assume pretty hard. I can't imagine that the third act of Wonder Woman or Justice League is going to be good. I just can't.
Well, that's disappointing.
I can't. But you know why? Because I'm the guy that, like, I fancy myself a writer. That doesn't mean that I am one, but I fancy myself a writer, and the writing. I mean, the third act is probably the one that I can't. Like, it's the part that they screw up in every one of these movies. Like, from 2000s X-Men, like, I just like, this is a pretty good movie, and then there's that big egg beater on top of the Statue of Liberty turning everybody into mutants, and I went, what the shit is this?
Right.
I don't know what this is. Why do I care?
What is happening?
And it's just been, it's the Doomsday Act. It's the,
Yeah.
The Avengers got kind of close. But again, they had the giant portal in the sky thing that, has been made fun of so mercilessly throughout all these superhero films.
Yeah.
I mean, what the hell do you do? In a comic book, Wonder Woman throws a rope around a guy and she wins.
Well, it just is easier in a comic book. Like yeah. Well, I say that. Somebody I'm sure is going to be ready to light me up for it. But in theory, though, you can do it a little cleaner over there. Like, you don't have to actually produce X amount of minutes. You just have to produce X amount of pages, and you can do that with some really splashy, great artwork. Really, like, unrealistic artwork for what you're even trying to portray sometimes, but it still looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Some cute banter, turn the story around, solve it with, the lasso or something if you want to. Quick wrap up, and you go straight to epilogue, and then you almost find your meat sometimes in the epilogue.
Right. I mean, for a movie, you have to have something really cool. For a comic, all you have to do is go, oh, Darkseid's a baby now. I don't know why.
I take it you're current on Darkseid War.
I wouldn't say current, but...
You caught that part at least.
I caught some things. And it was just a funny line, honestly. I don't really know. I'm not pissing on that book, man. I just thought it was funny.
It was a good movie.
Hey, Darkseid's a baby now. Oh, we saw that shit with Magneto. What else you got?
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, every big bad guy's got to be a baby at some point.
It's just what they do.
Yeah, you got to be transmogrified back to slightly post-fetal form.
Right,
I don't know. Anyway, what the hell were we talking about?
Oh yeah, slightest.
Shazam has a writer. Oh yeah, I never said what.
I'm cynical enough that I'm like, oh, who's going to try it first? Go on, Dave. Please tell me the name of this foregone conclusion soul.
You know what? I would write a Shazam. I absolutely would. I would cross it between like the Never-Ending Story and Iron Man. That's just what I would do. It's just
just tonally.
I don't know. Yeah, tonally. Yeah.
No, come on, man.
Tonally.
The Big Red Cheese, man. You have to go campy on this one a little bit. This one has to feel more like an MCU than anything else.
Right. Yeah. You know what? The way I would hook it, though, is that Billy Batson is actually, like, maybe he sees footage of himself as Captain Marvel. Of course, we couldn't call him Captain Marvel, but he'd see footage of himself as Captain Marvel because I just refused to call him Shazam. And I'm old school like that. And he would actually, like, Billy Batson would actually be embarrassed by his behavior. Like, I'm so corny when I'm, like, that's the way I would hit it.
Mary's over there like, but it's the wisdom of Solomon, Billy. You're doing the right thing. Well, it just seems so lame, though. Yeah, but that's what happens when you grow up.
You become lame.
You start seeing the world differently. I just want to go kick a cat. Yeah. Well, don't say Shazam first, then.
And you know what? I would where like Billy actually has like an affinity for old stuff, like old TV shows and stuff. So when he actually becomes Captain Marvel or Shazam or whatever, what do you want to call him? He says like the old school like 50s sayings, like G Willikers and whatnot. Because he's like an avant-garde like teen who likes to watch old shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I'd hit it up.
Yeah,
you can tell me I'm full of shit and whatever.
Somebody will. That's what we're here for.
Oh, I'm sure. Come on, guys. Give me your best shot. I will agree with you and move on with my day.
Yeah.
Anyway, I meant to mention, though, that Joby Harold, that's a stupid name. I'm just kidding, man. Whatever. I don't know. Joby Harold, I don't know the guy, but apparently he is writing King Arthur, Legend of the Sword with Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And he has multiple features in development, including a Lionsgate Robin Hood. So, I mean, it looks like he's sort of like a B-list, up-and-coming badass, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, oh, this kid's got moxie.
Yeah.
And I think I just explained why I would write Shazam the way I would.
But, you got it. Yep. On the head.
The Shazam writer is going to be...
But he's got... Yeah, he's writing what? Fantasy right now? That's what he's into at the moment?
Joby Harold, he's writing The Flash. Sorry, I meant to bring that back up. It was Joby Harold. That's what he was doing on The Flash.
Oh, that's right.
Moving over to Shazam, though. Henry Gayden is writing Shazam. And...
But you're heading towards Shazam there. I was like, well, fantasy, Shazam, that makes sense. Oh, okay.
A fan, yeah, I kind of got sidetracked here. But, yeah, sorry, guys. I don't know what's wrong with me. So a fan wrote to, Anne Rice lover, actually, wrote to Henry Gayden.
Okay.
And said, I just read that you're writing the Shazam film. Can you deny or confirm this? And he said, confirmed and loving what's to come. Another rewrite? What?
Is it?
What are you so happy about?
Has there been a write yet of Shazam? Is there anything on paper for this thing yet?
I don't think so. But here's the thing. Gayden's work, I mean, I'm not hearing great things, man. And that's fine. That would fit perfectly into everything that the DCEU has done so far. But the reviews are not great on Earth to Echo, which is what he wrote. And, I mean, RogerEbert.com gives it like a 2 out of 4,
Oh, that's 0.5. It rounds up, right?
49% on Rotten Tomatoes. And the audience score is 47%. So, like, the critic meter is actually a little higher than the audience score.
Yeah.
That's not good, man. I haven't seen it. Maybe Earth to Echo is phenomenal. I don't know. Maybe it's just another one of those, like, oh, bullshit, this is, tilled ground already. But I don't know. Everyone's calling an ET knockoff on Rotten Tomatoes here. But, yeah.
Cute.
I don't know what this guy's got in store for Shazam. I hope it's good. I hope he does a really good job. They're even rumored that Brad Payton of San Andreas is going to be... is on the short list of directors for Shazam. I think it's weird that they bring this up like the week after they bring up, hey, Black Adam's going to have a solo movie. Okay, cool. Well, let's talk about Shazam. How about we not? Let's talk about Black Adam. I don't give a shit about Shazam right now. I want to see Black Adam.
We definitely have The Rock attached to.
So, anyway, moving on, I guess, the Gotham City Sirens. And, I'm gonna talk about this. I'm gonna be a little mean, I guess. Maybe not. But Harley Quinn Smith wants to play Harley Quinn. She was doing an interview with comicbook.com, and she was talking about Gotham City Sirens. She said before they even mentioned that she was going to make a spinoff, I talked to my agent, and I was like, honestly, I know this isn't even a project yet. But I just want you to know that when the day comes that they do start putting this into production, I need you to make sure if there is a young Harley Quinn role, that no one other than Harley Quinn plays that role. My agent was like, okay. She says, I don't even know how long I've been waiting for this. She even talks about doing other films, other things. Honestly, any villain would be fun. I like to play characters that are most opposite from me. I think it's more fun that way. And any villain in a movie or on The Flash, Joey King just played Magenta. I think on The Flash, something like that. There's not too many teenage female villains, but any sort of villainous role would be awesome. Look, I don't want to see a younger version of Harley Quinn played by Harley Quinn Smith. I just don't. You know, she was fine, and I say fine, in Supergirl, and I don't say that in a creepy way, like, oh, she was fine. Sorry, I grew up in the 90s. I have to clarify that. But what I'm saying is she was adequate in the role of Izzy on Supergirl. She is not Margot Robbie level, though.
Yeah, I don't think she's probably there yet, which is well, fine. It's not like she got a chance to be Margot Robbie level on Supergirl Lives, but she was.
Well, I mean, she could have been.
Nah, that wasn't in there. It wasn't in the.
I mean, she was a human. She was a victim of human trafficking. Of course, she could have been Margot level.
Yeah, but no, you can't. On Supergirl, you can't get down to like the depths of depravity of even a victim of human trafficking. Like it's right. It is still a hopeful show that like, well, we defeated this, so we don't have to dig into how it's still going to destroy the rest of her life, and she'll wake up in a cold sweat for the next 2 years and all that stuff.
She did do a good job for what I saw, but
perfectly serviceable job.
I feel like in 10 years she's going to be super embarrassed by all these interviews she keeps doing where she's talking about she's going to play Harley Quinn.
No. I look, if it was me, man, I would look back on that and be like, look, I had to try. Shit, I had to try.
That's fair. But people like you and me, we have no shame. Normal people have shame.
Oh, I have plenty of shame. I just don't apply it to certain things. I save it up for like special occasions.
I save it up for special occasions.
Yeah.
That right there, man. That's why you're the co-host of this show. That's. Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying you've talked about it, but if you ever decide to quit, just remember, it's going to be a hell of a time finding someone as funny as you.
See, this is why I keep my shame in buckets. So I can be like, yeah. Dave, I'm glad I make you laugh, Dave, but you're full of shit.
I used to see those buckets in the shed, and there was like black goop coming out of them. I was like, what is that? And you're like, oh, don't worry about that.
Yeah, it's just pieces of my soul.
It's just pieces
seeping across a dusty floor.
On to Suicide Squad.
Moving at the speed of hope.
Oh my gosh. Suicide Squad was nominated for an Oscar. Everyone's flipping their shit about it. Everyone's mad about it. Apparently because Deadpool didn't get a nod.
Yeah.
But, it's not like, look, Suicide Squad is nominated for hair and makeup, which it totally deserves. And everyone's like, but what about Ryan Reynolds? Apparently that's the upset. It's like, oh no, Ryan Reynolds.
No, his makeup was great. But there was a lot more makeup in this giant ensemble cast than the one guy.
Yeah, I mean, you can't just go like, well, what about him looking like, topographical map of Utah? Wait, what about Killer Croc? What about Jared Leto? I mean, we didn't care for Jared Leto's face, but whatever. They did a good job of the makeup.
It wasn't the people who put him together every day's fault.
Right. I mean, you look at the, clearly a lot of those eyes of the adversary were practical. They certainly looked practical.
Right.
Anyway, so everyone's flipping their shit, They're going to be up against Star Trek Into Darkness, which is tough competition. Star Trek Into Darkness, they did a really good job on the makeup of that movie. That was a good movie, too.
Mm-hmm.
And a Swedish-Persian film called A Man from Ova. So, I'm split between Suicide Squad and Star Trek Into Darkness because Star Trek Into Darkness was really good and had really good makeup. Like, a lot of cool makeup. Like, really cool. Like, I honestly think Star Trek Into Darkness, I know I'm running a DC podcast here. I think Star Trek, I think it deserves to win. I'll be happy if Suicide Squad does too, though. But Ryan Reynolds responded to what they're calling the Oscar snub as, he says regularly scheduled tickle fight at Camp Deadpool is still on. Congrats to all the nominees for these brilliant films. So, he's taking it in stride and still keeping his humor, which is great. I'm not a huge Oscar fan anyway. I think all award shows are bullshit. That's why we're not really talking about the Razzies, who kind of really, slapped BVS in the face with their dicks this time.
Oh, man, they went after him hard.
How hard?
Hard.
But anyway. I already said dicks, Jason. We get it.
Just driving home the point.
Like, they went after BVS because it made more money than Suicide Squad. That's the only reason. Because I think Suicide Squad was definitely, like, the lesser of the two movies. But, yeah, whatever.
I don't know. Suicide Squad went over better than BVS. I thought that was pretty straightforward.
I didn't think so. But you know what? You know what's messed up, though, is that, like, people are still bringing up Deadpool in relation to Suicide Squad. Like, how is Deadpool not? Because Suicide Squad... What about these two movies makes you think that they're anyway really, really similar? Because they're not. Like, there's jokey characters. That's about all you got. Like, yes, there is a general consensus that Deadpool and Harley Quinn should be having sex on the regular. They should. Yeah. There should be like a whole like fourth wall breaking, universe bending concept where those two are in a relationship together, and she goes, "Screw you, Mr. J," and gets with Deadpool, and the two live happily ever after in chaos. But aside from that, there's not like a whole lot of connective tissue between Suicide Squad and Deadpool. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I mean, it was a fun movie where there was a lot of shooting happening.
So they've released some Suicide Squad concept art, some of it by Andrew Hunt. The art was, Andrew says, I was hired to sketch out a lot of attitude, concepts, and mood for Suicide Squad. There were a lot of black and white Joker shirtless photos. Somewhere he was like shirtless and had a tie. There was a lot of Deadshot silhouette shots, like ensconced in shadow with like some cool contrasty white pencil marks, Yeah. There was a lot of Harley Quinn with a devil and an angel that she's imagining. I don't know if that was actually part of the movie, but I would assume no. Also a pretty detailed look at Joker and Harley's guns. Like, Joker's gun had purple and gold, skull gestures, shattered glass motif with the shatters making out Joker's face. Harley's gun has alternating love and hate on the barrel. It has gold diamonds and tally marks and a skull jester, and it's black and silver and gold all over. Now, these are a little more intricate than I would think they would do, personally, from my take of the characters and what I'm used to. But because that's a lot to put in for like one heist. Because you're going to be like, all that shit's going to be confiscated. Your ass is going to be back in Arkham Asylum, like at the end of the episode. Yeah. Anyway, they also had the rebreather with the bat signal. Again, why would Batman have a bat signal on his rebreather? I don't understand. That's kind of cool. I don't know. Bat cuffs.
Branding. I don't know.
Right. They had the Deadshot gun with the gold scope. It says, in gold, I am the light, the way. Deadshot I could buy, maybe having something like that, but not really. I don't know. No, Anyway. There's that tone shift where it's like, there's like the Batman and Robin, which is completely one way, where it's like every villain has a completely customized gaudy gun and or accessory that goes with them.
Yeah.
And then there's the exact opposite way where you're too scared to call your hero Green Lantern, so you call him the Hood or Arrow. And neither one of those is okay with me. I'm like, can we not be a cartoon? Okay, well, how about we go this way? Can we not be so gritty that we forget that this is based on a comic book?
No, it's okay. It's okay. In a few seasons, we're going to rename it Star City. Everything will be fine. You just hang in there. Hang in there.
Yeah. You know what? It reminds me of when UPN decided, like, you know what? We're just going to call it Enterprise. We're just going to leave Star Trek off of the title. No, that means you're ashamed. You pieces of shit. You're ashamed. And this is not like when I said the Suicide Squad cast were pieces of shit, where it was like lovingly pieces of shit because I love those guys.
Right.
This is like, you literal pieces of shit. I hate you. Stop trying to get boy bands on Star Trek Enterprise. Yeah. And yes, I'm calling it Star Trek Enterprise, as you came to do in season 3. Yeah. Stop being ashamed of what you make.
Anyway. Yeah, that's a pretty strong failure right there.
Yeah. So Jim Starlin, famed comic book writer, creator, Jim Starlin, tweeted out, or I think it was on Facebook actually. He says, just received a very big a big check from DC Entertainment for my participation in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. I don't know how to say that. Anatoly Nyazev, I guess. KG Beast.
Mm-hmm.
Much bigger than anything I've gotten for Thanos, Gamora, and Drax showing up in any of the various Marvel movies they appeared in combined. Guess I'll finally have to sit down and watch the movie.
You at least watch it, right?
Right.
And
no, I mean, yeah.
we may be again back to Don't Fuck with the Mouse.
Right. Look, man, I've heard some fans and some other podcast hosts and stuff go, you know what, this is kind of a jab at DC, and you know what, maybe it is, but it's funny. Like, man, I kind of dig how all of these like comic book creators roll a little bit. You know, they annoy me sometimes with it, but you know, I think it's funny that he hasn't seen the movie. I really do. I think it's funny. Like,
it doesn't always have to be flippant. Sometimes the motivation is more like, you know, I did it my way, this way, and if somebody else wants to take a character and go a different direction with it, that's fine. But I liked my way, and this was how I meant it to be. For me, this was right. You guys go have fun. I don't really care what you do.
Yeah. I guess just because I can imagine a version of guess I'll finally have to sit down and watch the movie as just being like an indictment on myself. If I had written that, it would have been like, I'm a piece of shit. I've got too much shit going on to watch this movie. Maybe it was that. Maybe it was a jab. I don't know. It doesn't matter either way. He got his paycheck, and it's cool that DC Entertainment is taking care of him so well. You know, that's a nice. Whether or not you want to say like, hey, you know, like if he hasn't seen the movie, I don't want him to say like, hey, I like the movie. But,
yeah.
You know, I like the fact that it's a nice little piece of PR. Like, hey, by the way, DC Entertainment paid me a lot of money for this and really respected, you know, my contributions overall and what I've done for the company over the years. So that's nice. Anyway, speaking of which, there's I don't know why I said that. Is a non sequitur segue somehow. But
in completely unrelated news, of which I was speaking.
They found another Watchmen reference in Batman v Superman. Lois has Watchmen on her bookshelf.
Oh, does she?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? Who watches? That's the question. Who watches the Watchmen? The answer, of course, is Lois Lane.
That actually makes a ton of sense, though.
No wonder she can get to all those places in Man of Steel in like no time at all.
Yeah.
Anyway. That is all the news I have on the DCEU. We don't have any more news for that.
Oh, wow, okay. All
and, yeah, that's just, it ends. I don't ever give any warning. I'm just like, well, that's it.
It just peters out.
Yeah, we have no reviews this week, so apparently no one wants anything.
That's fine. It's fine. By this point, 50%, 60, 70, and I'm counting as it happens, has already clicked next track.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know what? We did get in contact with Mad Dog. Actually, Mad Dog got in contact with us.
Wait, next track. That's a
Mad Cow.
That's how old I am.
Mad Cow 72. Sorry, Mad Dog. I don't know. I'm thinking of Wild Dog from Era.
Of course you're. Well, you're already getting
Cow
geared up.
72. I'm getting geared up because we're about to do a DC TV episode. But Mad Cow 72. Right. Mad Cow 72 got to us. Apparently, he had sent us a message, and I didn't see it. It just didn't show up. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was my fault or what. But you know what? And this is how we are. I sent him an extra copy of Volume 2. He wanted Suicide Squad Volume 1 of the New 52. I sent him Volume 2 as well.
Oh.
So I'm really sorry about
nice.
that. Like, I'm not bragging. I just feel really bad that we didn't see it for like 2 weeks, and then I was like, we're going to give it to somebody else if you don't.
This guy, yeah. We have to abandon him.
So, yeah. I don't know what happened, but
when we are made to feel guilty because of our shame, which we keep bottled and pristine for occasions just like this.
Oh, you keep them in buckets in your garage, I thought we said.
Well, you have to distill it after the bucket form.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just like moonshine.
Yeah, distill it into pure self-hatred.
This is our bottle of self-loathing.
Yeah.
Comes at a price of $19.95 and your soul.
This is from 2009. It's aged poorly, which is what you want in this situation.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
This is a vintage bottle from 1998 when you told that girl that you were happy she didn't want to date you because she was an idiot.
Mm-hmm. It was distilled 2 years later after it had time to ferment.
Oh, man.
The hate is strong as in this one. It has subtones of confusion and
Hey, Speaking of the hate is strong in this one, did you see that? Did you happen to see that video that they did? It's like of the last 20-30 minutes of Return of the Jedi, and they replaced the Emperor Palpatine's voice with lines from the Arkham games from Mark Hamill's Joker. It's pretty brilliant.
I didn't see that, but that sounds pretty damn brilliant. Yeah,
it's pretty brilliant. The one downfall, though, for it, and I know I'm going to get shit for this, but the one downfall is that they replaced Vader's voice with Bane from Dark Knight Rises. They made it work, though. It worked well.
No.
Christopher White, our buddy, came down. He was in town, and we hung out, and he showed it to me, and we had a good time with it.
Excellent. Yeah, I hadn't caught that one.
Anyway. We're going to be coming right back with a DC TV episode. We are DC On Screen. You can find every episode at DCOnScreen.com. You can talk to us, DC On Screen, at Twitter or Facebook. We have a lot of people talk to us, and it's a lot of fun. So come and join in. I don't know what to tell you. Why wouldn't you? You listen to this show every week? Why the hell wouldn't you talk to us? We're pretty forthcoming, you know? Anyway.
Ask us questions about which vintage years of self-hatred we have available.
Yeah, and I'll like your tweet and never respond.
Right. We'll shuffle off and bottle some tears.
Set them right next to our secret shame. You know?
It's actually what I use to ferment the shame is the tears. I go cry on the pile of slowly moving shame. Ferments it.
I'll put those tears. I'll put that bottle of tears right next to the bottle that says, clogged up the church bathroom toilet. You know, as opposed to the church pulpit toilet.
Yeah.
Because there is one up there. Don't fool yourself.
Don't use it.
I don't know. We were all 14 once. 14 and grossly obese. The moral of that story is don't eat Taco Bell before church.
That actually sounds like great life advice.
It was really nice carpet, man. I feel bad.
Yeah.
Shit, and I'm not speaking figuratively. It was everywhere.
It was bad. And a bad time was had by all.
But not me, because I escaped. They didn't know it was me. There's someone who still attends that church in Prattville, Alabama, who going, I knew it!
Right.
Somebody had to be responsible. Anyway.
Oh, well. Mystery solved.
Anyway. We're proud members of the
we
Giant
gotta get over to
Team Up
TV,
Network.
too. It's gonna be
GiantSteamup.com. And until next time, guys, keep some DC on your screen.
At Baker's, we know the minute a tomato is picked, the fresh timer starts. The sooner we get our produce to you, the fresher it is. That's why we've shortened the time from harvest to home for our tasty tomatoes, strawberries, and salads. So no matter how you shop, you have more time with your fresh produce. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
We've locked in low prices to help you save big store-wide. Look for the locked in low prices tags and enjoy extra savings throughout the store. Baker's, fresh for everyone.